zone is all the ambulation transfers. We're actually going to participate in a fall. Has anyone ever been to the seminars that we've done before where we've done fall participation? So everyone's seen us do that? Okay, we're going to do that again. We're going to save a good chunk of time, probably 30 to 45 minutes after everybody does the presentation piece, and then we'll practice each section, and we'll be able to go and do hands-on on the mattresses, on the Hoyer lifts. Doug, if he can raise his hand, has a stair glider that everybody can try out and use. So we're going to have a lot of participation time to take advantage of being able to practice some of the things that we're seeing. So the first thing that we're going to learn to do, and if you can stand up, I really want you to take part in this with me, but before anything happens in this section, and this is really important as we're practicing, you'll see me practice it up here. As you guys are practicing down here, again, anyone who says, ask me, I can help you with this. You have to communicate prior to doing anything. You have to make sure that someone knows what you're going to do, and that you know what someone's doing to you, so that you can make sure your body and their body are the way that it needs to be. Especially if you're getting someone up from a lying position, you really want to make sure that you get them up and you give them time to have everything kind of adjust. Have you ever had like the phone ring in the middle of the night, you pop out of bed and your adrenaline's rushing and you're wandering, and the next thing you know you're kind of stumbling? Everything hasn't quite caught up yet. We haven't got the cobwebs out, the blood isn't flowing the way it should. So if you're getting someone up from a lying position, especially before you're doing transfers, it is really important that you sit them up in a position to kind of let everything start moving. It's going to really eliminate falls. It's going to eliminate just the ability to have our legs go out from underneath us. It still doesn't mean it's not going to happen, but it'll be less likely to if people can get their wits about them before we go to stand on our feet. Again, with any of this, we want to make sure that we're encouraging everybody to do as much as they can. Independence. We don't want to take more weight as doing transfers than we can. And if we're the one that's being transferred, we want to make sure we're trying to use as much of our own muscle as we can. So, with that said, we get to stand up and participate. So if you can stand up, please stand up. Back of your chair, this is going to be a section we're going to do a lot with. And we get to watch everybody's rear end in front of us do some funny movements. So good thing you're in the back. If you're in the back, if you're in the front, everyone is watching you. No, I'm kidding. Everyone's worried about themselves, no one's looking at you. So what we're going to do is we're going to practice good body posture and good mechanics. And so if you look at my feet, they're about my shoulder width apart. Now if I'm standing this way, let's all start with your feet right together. If somebody came to push you over, how much strength do you have to not fall? You can kind of tug on your neighbor if you want, see if you can knock them down safely. Now, if you put your feet out here, have you ever heard the term? I think Pontiac is the car that phrased it, wider is better. Why do you think they say that? It's in the handling of the turns, right? You have a low center of gravity or a little bit further apart. Now try and knock over your neighbor or try and move yourself. Do you feel the difference in stability? Okay. Now what if someone came up and pushed you from behind? All of a sudden we've lost stability, right? But what if we're standing about shoulder width apart and we've got one foot in front of the other? Now what did we just do? Someone comes and pushes you forward, you're a little more stable. Someone pushes you back, you're a little more stable, and from side to side, right? You've got a wider base. So this is really where you always want to be. Now, the width of your base is going to depend upon the type of transfer you're doing, but you never want to be here, and you never want to be just here. You always want to be with your dominant leg in front of you. Now, if you don't know which one is your dominant leg, rock on it. Now switch, and rock on that. Which one feels right? That's your dominant leg. Whichever one feels better is your dominant leg. So if you can choose to do a transfer in this position, which you can't always choose, because depending upon where someone is sitting, but if you can arrange things so that your dominant leg is always in control when we're doing transfers, and even when they were talking about massage, and I think Tom was talking about when you're doing range of motion, not to be in this position with range of motion, right? This is a great position of range of motion because what I'm doing if I'm rubbing someone is I'm allowing my big muscle groups to work for me. My back is not doing anything. My legs are. These are my big muscle groups, right? We have this wonderful unit right here. What is this called? Our tushy, our butt, whatever we want to call it. That is a great muscle, and it's got a lot more stability than we give it credit for. So when you're using your body, use this piece and just rock back and forth and see how comfortable that feels in comparison to wanting to do this. 2 is, remember we talked about that string? Pull that string and see what happens to your body. What happens to your butt? It gets tight. What you should see, and I don't let everyone see this, is the difference of me standing in a natural position and me doing this. Do you see what happens to my rear end? Everybody do that. Your butt should tuck in, your stomach tightens, your butt tucks in, your chest goes out, and your neck stays strong. That is proper alignment when you're going to do lifting or any transfer. Does that make sense? So squeeze the butt. Everybody should try it. Tuck your gut. Chest goes out, neck goes up. Now, I have been told that there was a conference up in Breckenridge over last weekend where I was being made fun of for my close ability to get with people when I do transfers. And unfortunately this year, because of my shoulder, no one gets my boobs in their face. So it's always the joke of who wants to volunteer, and we have a lot of men that go, pick me. So this year, unfortunately, I'm not the one doing it. But it was nice to know that I was known for, they said, which one is it? It was Lisa, and she said, they wanted to know which one her boss was, and she goes, it's the pretty blonde one with the... So, my name is Sarah, but anyway, when we're doing this and when we're talking about this, you are going to get close and personal, and when you're sharing with your partner, this isn't high school, we're not dancing, it's totally okay, you're going to touch body parts, it's alright. So, just get nice and comfortable with who you are. Alright, I'm going to bring up, before we start doing a whole bunch of stuff, I'm going to bring up Suzanne. And, oh, see? Goodness sakes. Wow. Next year when we do this, I'm not going to have any physical ailment, and we are going to get through this so good. There's one thing I want to add, and Suzanne can come on up, but there's one thing I want to talk about real quick first. Wow, I went really far. And that is about what assistive devices mean before we go into all of them, because I run into this all the time. There we go. And I really want everyone to read this and understand this. Can we read this out loud? Assistive devices are not signs of decline, but tools for support and provide an opportunity for longer independence. Do we actually believe that? Okay, we should. What I find is when I recommend to someone that they use an assistive device, what I hear all the time is, you're taking away my right to be independent. That's not the case. What we're doing is extending your independence because you're not fatiguing yourself. You're not going to injure yourself or someone else, and you're giving yourself the ability to care for yourself and take care of yourself longer. It's like if I put on a seatbelt in the morning when I'm driving here, and granted Lisa was driving because I can't drive yet and that's scary enough, but I didn't put on the seatbelt because I thought she was going to get in an accident. I put on the seatbelt because I want to protect myself, because just in case, right? It's the same thing. Just because you're moving to a different assistive device does not mean that you are declining. It just means that there is a tool that's going to help you function better and be independent longer. So when we're going through all of this today, try to remove that stigma from these and really look at what it can do to change how you're operating. So I'm going to hand it over to Suzanne to talk about the wonderful loan closet. So, yes.
I have a mic and a button. I'm in trouble.
Yay, Suzanne.
Can you hear me? Yes. All right, so actually this is the first time I've ever used the mic. So I'm here to talk about our loan closet. I think that for those of you who know me really well, I talk about it often. So hopefully this should go really well. But of course it's media technology, and many of you know I'm working on that one. So we have quite an extensive loan closet, and we're just going to start with the eating assistance. We have a number of items that are here. So we have different kinds of plates. There are lip plates that are in kind of a bowl shape. It makes it easier to scoop over and have the edge to pull things up. Sometimes the plates are not always available, so you actually can have a plate guard that can just attach to any plate that you have in your home. A little easier to travel with if you're going out to a restaurant or to a friend's home. There's all kinds of silverware. These are built up and have kind of the a no-slide grip just to make it easier to hold. And they come in all the utensils and a rocker knife as well. And when it gets to be hard to actually hold on to the spoon, they actually have something called the universal cuff, if it's up here, yep, where your personal spoon or fork or, and honestly, you can use maybe a toothbrush or a comb, anything else can slide into it. And what happens is that you don't have to grab it, and it will just hang on your hand, and you can still do the scooping motion. So moving on to, and there's some other items. I actually could probably be here for a couple hours if I really wanted to get into everything. But just know that if eating or feeding is a little bit difficult, give me a call, send me an email. We can definitely help you out or head you in the right direction. Dressing assistance. There's a lot of different aids to help maintain that independence for dressing. Number one, we have a dressing stick. And that can help. There's two different kinds of hooks on either end, so sometimes it's a matter of being able to pull the slacks. I have it around my feet. You can use the hook just to be able to get your legs in. This is actually also handy to maybe pull a hanger out of a closet. So there are different ways to use it to pull a shirt up over your back, so that's called a dressing stick. Or scratch your back. We also have a reacher. I think a number of people are aware of the reacher or the grabber. Whether that's used for dressing, the same kind of ideas, picking up items off of the floor, your shoes, your socks, bringing them over, but just using them throughout the house. So this item is good for dressing, but it's good for the whole house. Sometimes people have two. They keep one in the bedroom or in the bathroom and one near the kitchen. We have sock aids as well. That would be this one. There's actually two different kinds. This happens to be a soft one. There are also some that are formed and hard. I do have more of these items when we kind of open it up on our back table in the back of the room. And that really is just going to help be able to put your sock on, and afterwards I will be happy to demonstrate with anybody and show you how to use it. Wheelchairs and patient lifts, I will just really touch base on because somebody else will go into the details of them. But we do have what is called a transport or companion wheelchair. We also have a standard wheelchair, the ones that have the two big wheels in the back. And we also have the high-end power chairs at different levels, and they're all available in the loan closet. So whether or not you're getting your own and you want to use one from the loan closet until yours comes in, or you're not able to get your own, you can keep and use ours for as long as you need. What Sarah's demonstrating now is something called an easy pivot lift. These are in the closet as well. So there's two major types of lifts that we have, and one is the Hoyer lift that Joe will go into later, and this is an easy pivot lift. I have found that with both lifts, we have people who are on both sides of the camp. You either absolutely love it, or it's not your favorite thing in the world, because as Sarah showed, you're over it, and you're really exposed on the back side. So some people are okay with that, and some people are not, but it does fully support somebody. What's great is that these work great when you're using a commode or a bathroom, the toilet, and it just gives full access for dressing, which is a little different than the Hoyer lift. And in the closet, just so you know, occasionally we have some unique items, so always give me a call, but like we have a wall lift, works like a Hoyer lift, but is actually something that is attached to your wall that you can use, maybe going from the bedroom to your power chair, or in the bathroom going from the toilet to the power chair, but it would be stationary but permanent in there whenever you needed it. Communication devices, more technology. Actually, I don't have all of them here. We have quite a number of simple, no-tech solutions just to help with communication. And sorry, don't want to forget the whole other side. All the way up to the really high-end eye gaze systems. We have 3 different types of eye gaze systems, and that's something a speech therapist can help you out to determine what's going to be best. And they are welcome to give us a call and say, hey, I'm working with so-and-so and this is what I need, and we will send it down to you. Computer access, especially in this day and age, is so very important. There are different ways to access the computer, and we have a number of things in our closet that can help. One being that if it's more difficult with your hands, you can actually use voice-activated software. We have Dragon Naturally Speaking for anybody who would like to put that onto their computer. And then sometimes, ultimately, if there's some changes in the voice and we can't access through our hands, we can use something that is called a head mouse. It's not really out. It has a picture on it, which is kind of a little camera that will actually just sit at the top of the computer, and it will read a dot that you put somewhere within on a baseball cap or on your head or on eyeglasses, and it will run the cursor for you so you can get full access to the computer. And a lot of times people might use something of that sort before they actually get into a full speech device, which has then the eye gaze system as well. We'll move into more like mobility and transferring. So we have a number of slide boards here. We have 2 here. Here's a short slide board. You got that? And this one that Sarah's showing you is something called a Beezy, which actually has the seat, so that it can actually do the sliding for you from left to right. And we have a couple of those. And the slide boards come in all different sizes to figure out what's going to work for you, whether it's in the bedroom or in the bathroom, or sometimes if you're trying to go to the car, you need a longer one. And we're going to be able to play with all of these later on. I have some more equipment in the back that we have bed rails, toe tents, and a lot of it is if there's something that's going on that's a little tricky, feel free to send me an email, give me a call, and say, hey, this is what I'm trying to do. I will see what equipment we have and get it out to you. What Sarah's showing now is a swivel seat. Works really well, especially in the car, and works like a lazy Susan. It's not for standing on.
I'm just showing because I can't do it with my arm. So
they actually make those that look very similar. For standing on it is a pivot disc that has the non-slip material on there as well. And unfortunately, at the moment, they're just all out of the closet. But they all work in that situation so that it will help do that turning when this motion is too hard, either standing or the same thing when you're sitting in the chair trying to get into the car, or if you're at a friend's house and just being able to move. Gait belts we're definitely going to get into a lot later on, I think, when we practice our mobility. We have quite a number of them. There's the standard one that Sarah's showing you, and we have one, just open it up, that goes around, and there are a number of them that actually have the loops, and sometimes with multiple loops around the gait belt, it just makes it easier to know where to grab. And toileting. Within our closet, we have all sorts of aids for the toilet, for the shower, for the bath. And so this is a raised toilet seat with arms. We have raised toilet seats without arms. We actually have just the arms with no raising involved, which is called a safety frame, and that can hook on your toilet. There are different kinds of commodes that can be used, and they can be used over the toilet where the legs are adjustable and you can make the height different. A lot of them also have it where the arms can move out of the way. And sometimes if you're doing transfers with a slide board, then having the arms move out of the way for the commode is very beneficial and opens up that transfer that way. We have, and it's just down in the back corner, a transfer bench for the bath, especially if you have a bathtub and you haven't been able to have any remodeling done, or if you're in an apartment or something where you're not, can't do remodeling. Help bringing it up. And this is just one kind. They actually make transfer benches that also slide and swivel. And then of course we also have just the bath seats that just sit inside the tub or inside the shower. And again, it's a matter of we can just talk and what's going to be the best option for your house for what you do at that time. Maybe a bath seat's fine and you want to move on and say, now we need a transfer bench, we'll just exchange it out. Very good. Looking around at everything we put up here. Positioning aids, we also have quite a number of different foam wedges, different ways to get comfortable within the bed. We have a number of different mattresses, whether they're air mattresses, some that are alternating pressure that Joe will talk about more also, and overlays, and the wedges and pillows, and just for positioning, just to help make somebody comfortable. So I think the biggest thing to know is that there are a lot of different items in there, and I probably have missed some. So if something's going on, feel free to just give me a call, and Leslie and I will get it out to you.
We're good. That was fantastic. So obviously, the Lone Closet is a plethora of goodies that you can try. The nice thing too is that if you want to try one, you can figure out what you want, and then you can always go purchase your own. You can always donate back to the Lone Closet if you've had something that doesn't work for you. So the other thing too is in support groups or talking with Suzanne or Leslie or Pam or anyone at the association, Ask them what, feedback they've gotten from different equipment and give them feedback because that helps as well. So we are going to, there's a little, oh, do you have my clicker? I also left a $100 bill up here. Did you take that too? Because it was with the clicker, I swear. Be great if she said yes, wouldn't it? We'd all go out for coffee. All right. So we're going to talk about ambulation assistance real quick, and I need a volunteer who can help me.
Do what?
To do ambulation. So come on up, and if you want to click the lights again, sorry, I was a little early to do that. We're going to talk just real quickly about ambulation, and I'm going to have one of my team, either Lisa or Chip or somebody, come up and be my other arm here. But before I do that, I want you to go into your little goodies bag. We're going to pull in our tools. And part of the things that we've been talking about when we look at all this equipment is comfort. And so I think this is really awesome. This is from the Rocky Mountain Medical Equipment Company. And this is an example. It's a keychain, but it's kind of cool because you can play with it too, of what a Roho cushion is like to sit on. And if you feel it, you can see how it disperses the weight. And it would be very difficult to kind of get a pressure sore from that. So reach in your bag and kind of feel it. That's kind of fun to see. There's tons of different materials, and so when you're looking at all of these, like Suzanne said, one board is plastic, another board is wood. It totally depends upon your comfort level of what you feel like you want to slide on. So make sure that you're kind of thinking about those things too as you're going through your day. It's called it's R-O-H-O, Roho. And it's just a type of mattress, or not mattress, but seat cushion. So, who's going to be, you going to come up for me? Okay, so Marilyn, Sarah, nice to meet you. Thank you for volunteering. Marilyn is going to be our volunteer today, and she and I are going to get very close and personal. So I'm going to have you come on this side, so it's my good arm. And we're going to talk about basic transfer and ambulation assistance positions. And so I'm going to use my arm very gently and show, and then I'm going to have Lisa actually walk her around and demonstrate. And so, actually, let's come up here and just move her a little bit so I'm not blinded there. So when you're helping someone who's walking, what I see all the time in malls is people are arm in arm like this, correct? If Marilyn fell,
No, not correct.
what am I going to, exactly, what am I going to do?
Go with
Oh, that was too bad. Sorry about that. You want a cookie? A little late, nothing I can do, right? So the other thing you see all the time is someone who's walking with their arm down, they walk like this, not going to help. They hold hands. As wonderful as that is, and I love Marilyn, that's not going to help. We can do that while we're sitting on the couch, but not when we're walking down the mall. So my preference, and I'll have her kind of turn her back so we can see, and again, this is close and personal, but I'm going to take, it doesn't matter if she has a belt, a skirt, doesn't matter. And for those who's been in my ambulation classes and can swear that this works, right? So you may not believe me now, but it does. You want to grab the back like this, and you're going to take your hand and you're going to cup underneath. The reason that we're not going to wrap it around or we're going to do a different position is because if I have her and she starts to go and I need to change my hand position, this is a quick release. This is not. And I'm going to break my wrist at some point, correct? So you can practice this when we get up and it's time to participate. I'm just going to take her waistband and I'm just going to wrap it around my hand. Okay? Now, she's not going to go anywhere that I do not want her to go. I'm telling you, even if she starts to go, I'm in control now. The other thing, we'll turn around and face forward. I'm communicating before I move. The other thing that we're going to look at is where our hand is. So I can't go out a whole lot further than that with my hand right now, but by doing this, we are kind of like horses, and I mean that in a good way. We can take nonverbal cues. And so if I'm going to put my hand this direction, do you see what her body just naturally did? She turned, right? If I go this way with my hand, does she turn? What happens if I do this? You see her back? Did you see her go back? She stops. And what if I do this? She goes. So we don't even have to say anything when we get to the point of not being able to communicate, or if we're in a busy mall and it's loud. We can just guide by our hand and stop. So I'm going to have Lisa and Marilyn kind of ambulate around while we're talking. And you can actually see how they're assisting each other. Does anybody have any questions about what that looks like? Now, you can use gait belts. That's one of the things that Suzanne was talking about. The only difference is that the gait belt would be used instead of the pants. I tend to get a good grip and dig in there, you know? So some people don't like that, other people do. Totally your preference, and if you want your pants right up your crotch or not. But you can also use, so she'll demonstrate that, here, why don't you do this?
Do you do that with the arm if the arm isn't functioning?
You know, sometimes I do. Sometimes I don't, and I'll hold. But the thing I like about the arm, and we'll do that when we do the actual fall participation, is that I have more guidance about bringing her to me, because I can't stop someone from falling. I mean, I really can't. We can help prevent it a little bit, but the bottom line is, with ALS, we fall. It's just going to happen. And so what I want to do is ambulate with her and protect her. So if I'm going upstairs with Marilyn, where do I want to be? I can't be on her side necessarily all the time, right? So if I'm going upstairs, we're going up, where do I want to be? Behind her or in front of her? Behind her. So by this position, I can back up just a little bit behind her and still have control. She can have her hand on a railing over here, and I'm right behind her, and if she starts to fall, I can pull myself into the wall and into the railing, and she may still go down, but I've got some support because look at my body. Remember what I showed you about your feet? I'm now into a wall, she's on me, and I can haul for help. If we're going downstairs, where do I want to be? In front of her. And now she's going to be against a wall again. I'm going to be in front, and she may be holding on to my pants or to my shirt. And if she starts to go, I'm going to lean back, and what's the worst thing that happens? She's going to fall back. Where are my feet again?
Position.
Position. You always have to have one foot ready to move. And so by this motion, it allows me just to be able to kind of get more straight. The other thing is, if you're touching someone just with their hand, are you going to feel when their body starts to go? You're not. The hand is the last thing to go. But if my hand is here, I'm going to feel if there starts to be weakness in her knees, and I'm going to be able to say, whoa, we got to stop. Now the other thing is, as you see Lisa moving and talking to Marilyn, if Marilyn feels weak, should she just suck it up and keep going? What do we need to do if Marilyn is the one being helped? I'm not feeling so hot. I'm feeling kind of weak. I don't want to hurt you. I don't want to admit it, but I'm really not feeling like I'm strong. We need to stop for a minute. You can lean against the wall. I can position so I can hold someone for a very long time. And I'll use Lisa and, okay, if you can do it, perfect. So Lisa's going to show. Marilyn's just going to kind of give her body weight to Lisa. And Lisa's going to tuck her leg right in between. And you see Lisa's wide stance? Do you feel pretty supported? Yeah. Now, it may not be if she was really going down, but if she just needs to rest a minute, Lisa can hold that position for quite a long time, because where is all of her weight and Marilyn's weight? Right here, right? She's not all of a sudden like this, balancing and doing this where they're both going to go. So really important to have that piece. Do you feel comfortable when she's holding you like that? Feel pretty secure? Anybody have any questions about that and how that feels? The belt, the other option that Suzanne brought up is this belt. And this, if it went around the waist, would be just the same. I'll have you guys hold that actually, if you don't mind, in front. And you would just use this as your handle instead of. I'm more comfortable, and it's just how I grew up. I grew up in a nursing home, and so my entire life was spent like that, and I'm just more comfortable with this because that's an easy release for me when I need to move. This is not as easy for me, but I'm old school, so that's just me. Some people are really gate belt orientated. There's no right or wrong as long as you're doing it safe, and as long as you're safe. Yes, ma'am?
A comment that I would like to make is real often with gate belts, but a big error that I see a lot of is people worrying if it's too tight. So what they do is they put it on, it's too loose, and then it's moving all over the place, giving them road rash.
Yeah.
And then they don't have good, they think by putting it on tight it's going to hurt, but it doesn't. So
Right.
That's a point I really wanted to bring up.
Great point. She's saying that a lot of people, in case anyone didn't hear, that they're worried about making the gate belt too tight. And so, and if we were really walking with her, this would be tighter. But the issue is that what happens is this. We're riding all over, and we're starting to get, like she said, road rash. It's irritating. And does this feel secure to anybody? No? And again, whether it's the gate belt or I'm just going to use my hand, how much control do I have when this is loose like this? Not much, right? But if the gate belt was tight, or where my hand is, she's not going anywhere. She's going to dance when I say dance. And if I'm the one responsible for her, I want to make sure I got her, right? So really important. We're going to have time to practice that later. Any questions about how that's looking? So you can kind of work on that? Okay, and again, with transfers, one of the biggest pieces, and we're going to get into that in just a little bit, we're going to find that certain positions are going to be easier than others, obviously, to transfer. You know, we've had situations where someone's very little and they're transferring someone very big. It's not as easy as someone big transferring someone small. That's the reality. But can you do it for the most part? Yeah, actually you really can. And I'm going to bring in Debbie and Dave there because we were in a class about participating in a fall. And Dave is a solid, muscular guy. When Debbie first said that, I was like, yeah, whatever, come on. And I had my rotator cuff tear without the surgery yet. And we were doing the fall, and I was like, holy cow, you are not kidding. He is like a solid piece of steel. And so it is a challenge, but we learned how to do it with our feet and our legs, and it doesn't mean you're not going to ask for help, but you can at least be empowered to do a lot of this on your own. So, thank you very much. We have a little... oh, did we lose our goodie? I'll come find you. I lost my goodie, so sorry about that. Perfect, thank you. So we are going to bring up, is Vicki here? Perfect, from Apria, and she's going to tell you a little bit about her company before we move on to have Craig Jacobs from ATG talk about some